Hey guys, it's Sarah. Thank you so much for watching. So today I have a haul update for you. Back in December, I believe it was December 1st, the only reason I remember that is because it was my birthday, I posted a haul video on my channel where I talked about several items that I had purchased from Ulta and Sephora, ColourPop, and then a little bit before that I also did a CoverGirl haul and try on to celebrate the fact that CoverGirl had just gone cruelty-free. So I wanted to take this opportunity to update you on all those products. It's been a couple of months since I first purchased them. I've been getting, decent use out of them, so I wanted to kind of give you some thoughts on the products now that I've been testing them out for a little while. So let's start with the CoverGirl products since that video did go up first. The first product from CoverGirl that I purchased was the Trublend foundation. This is not the matte made foundation, it's just the Trublend foundation, the original Trublend. I purchased it in the shade Ivory. First of all, the shade it's too light for me, and I've realized that I have a bad habit of always just going with the lightest foundation shade because I always assume that I'm going to be the lightest shade, and I think that that used to be the case for me, but now that foundation shade ranges have started to get better, I am not the most fair person out there. I do have fair skin, but it is not as fair as it gets. So this is too light for me. It's what I'm wearing right now. I can make it work. Regardless of that, I don't think that I like this foundation very much. Something about it, I've worn this in videos, and especially in videos where I'm showing like close-up demos of products. I've noticed that my skin just doesn't look great when I'm wearing this. I feel like it almost emphasizes fine lines in my skin and texture in my skin. Makes my skin look a little bit dry, even though it might not actually be dry. Like today, I first put it on with a brush. I applied it with just my Wet n Wild flat top brush, and it looked terrible on me. Like I was looking at my skin close up, and it made my skin have dryness where I didn't even know I was dry. So then I took my beauty blender, which I will be updating you on also in this video. I took this and I went over it again to kind of try to smooth it out a little bit, and that did help. So I'm thinking this is probably a foundation that is best applied with a beauty sponge as opposed to a brush. You probably want to wear it over a nice like hydrating, maybe even like a skin smoothing primer. I really wish I would have gotten their Vitalist Healthy Foundation or the Vitalist Healthy Elixir. I know like Jessica Braun loves that one, and so does Nicole Renee. I feel like I have similar taste in foundations to them. So I'm really wishing I had gone for that one instead. So yeah, it's not something I'd recommend. Sorry if there was a lot of background noise just now. I realized my heater was on and it's like right behind the camera, so I turned it off. Apologize for that, but I'm just gonna keep going now. But if you do have this, let me know your favorite way to wear it if you have figured out a good like combo, like with a primer. I don't know, now that I'm looking at my skin, I actually don't mind the way that it looks, but I still think that I like my Physicians Formula foundation much better. That's like my favorite, my go-to drugstore foundation right now. This is just one that's, I'm not loving it, but it's not the worst either. The next product from CoverGirl that I had purchased was the Vitalist Go Glow Luminizing Lotion. I have it in the shade Daybreak, which I think is the lighter of two shades, if I'm not mistaken. This, okay, so this, I said this in the try-on video as well. It smells like corn chips, and Emily Noel said the same thing about it. It does have an odd smell. It has like a slightly sweet smell, but it also kind of smells like corn chips, so it doesn't really bother me. This I'm wearing kind of is a nice like natural cream highlight today, and I think it is beautiful for that. I've also like worn it underneath foundation. I think it's really pretty that way. This is just a nice product. It's just like, it's a nice kind of subtle highlight, and I think it looks really pretty. So one thing I will say is it does sometimes separate coming out of the tube, so you do want to shake it. Sometimes you gotta like mush it around, but I'm willing to look past that. It's a really inexpensive product, and I feel like the end result is still really pretty if you look past that one like minor flaw. The next product was the Vitalist Healthy Concealer. I believe I have it in the shade Fair. I think that's the lightest shade. This is nice. It does not have a lot of coverage. For days where I'm not wanting a lot of coverage, I think it's nice. I think, it's nice for like a light makeup day. That's kind of the vibe I get from the name. Like anything that has the word healthy in it, I'm expecting like a natural finish. I like it. It has a brush tip, so, you kind of twist this and it clicks up through the brush. I feel like this is something that I'm probably going to use up relatively quickly. It looks like I've almost actually used it up about halfway now, so I don't think that the shade range on this is great, so that is one thing that I think they could improve, but Overall, it's a nice, just light coverage concealer. The shade Fair on me is a little bit brightening too, so that can be kind of nice for under the eyes. And that is what I'm wearing on my under eyes today, actually. The next thing was this Cheekers blush in the shade Natural Twinkle. This, I'll be honest, I haven't worn it a ton, but the times that I have worn it, it's beautiful. There's really not a whole lot to test out with a blush. I felt like it had good, you know, decent staying power. I don't really have issues with blushes fading on me though, so take that for what you will. One thing I will say is I wish that the pan were a little bit bigger because it is hard to get your brush in there. If you're using like a decently sized blush brush, I mean, this is my EcoTools blush brush, which is a pretty average sized brush. You know, it's still bigger than the pan, so you have to kind of like work around that, which that's just a small detail to me. It's not a big deal. But this whole space right here where they had one of those like cheap little brushes that I just threw away because it was like a total nonsense brush. I wish they would have just expanded the blush pan a little bit and left that out, because who really uses that brush? No one that I know. Next we have the CoverGirl Trunaked Roses palette. This is just one of those really light, natural palettes. None of these shadows are super pigmented, but I do like this for just like a natural look, and a lot of times when I'm going for a really light natural eye look, I like to go for more rosy tones because I feel like they look really nice on my skin tone and with my eye color. So I do think this is a beautiful palette. This is actually one that one of you guys recommended to me, and I'm glad that you did because it's really beautiful, and it's definitely one that I can see myself getting a lot of use out of. Then we have the CoverGirl Supersizer mascara. This is nice. I like it. It's snowing again. We've been getting so much snow, I cannot believe it. I really can't believe it. Anyway, the CoverGirl Supersizer mascara, I'm kind of wishing that I had gotten the shade Blackest Black because I got black, and I'm wondering if this maybe just isn't quite as intense as it could be, because when I'm looking up close at my lashes, they look really long and just really nice, but then when I'm kind of further back from the mirror, I feel like my lashes just aren't really standing out as much as I would like for them to, especially for how full and long they look up close. So I'm thinking that maybe the shade is part of the reason why this isn't like my absolute favorite mascara so far. I've been using this mascara for almost 3 months now, and so at the end of February, I will, you know, go ahead and toss this. I will say one thing about this is that it does tend to clump a lot. So if you don't like the clumpy lash look, you probably wouldn't like this mascara. It is something that you can kind of work through, like the more you comb through it. You have to be kind of careful not to get too much of the product on there, but you can kind of work through it and sort of eliminate some of that clumpiness if you really work at it, but sometimes it can be difficult. So if you like the clumpy lash look, then you probably would like this, but I feel like this is it's very lengthening and volumizing. So, you know, if that's what you like in a mascara, it's nice. I'm just wishing I would have gotten the darker shade because I think that would have given me a little bit more of an accurate representation of the product, because I do usually go for that darkest shade. And then the last CoverGirl product was their lipstick in the shade Honeyed Bloom. I will be honest, I haven't worn this a ton. I feel like, okay, so it is a very soft formula, and the lipstick has already kind of bent backwards a little bit. I don't know if you've ever had that happen with a lipstick, but it's kind of like broken a little bit right at the base. So it's a little wobbly in there, and whenever I press down on it to, you know, apply it, the lipstick kind of pushes into the packaging, like into the edge of the tube. So I'm not a fan of that. I really don't like when lipsticks do that. But I mean, I think that's just a side effect of it being such a soft formula. This is something that I can see myself wearing a lot in the spring. It's just a really pretty, like light pinky nude color. Gorgeous color. I mean, I think it's a nice lipstick. It has kind of a hydrating feel on the lips. It's not, you know, the longest lasting lipstick ever. It's not a matte formula. It's more of like it has a little bit of a shine to it, a little bit of like a satiny finish. It says it's their cream formula. I'm not sure what other formulas they have. They might have a matte one too, but this is specifically their cream one. I think it's a nice, comfortable feeling lipstick. So that is everything from CoverGirl. Now let's move on to some of the Ulta and Sephora and ColourPop products that were in that December haul video. So the first thing from Ulta that I'd gotten was the Bare Republic Mineral Sunscreen Lotion. This is their tinted sunscreen. It has SPF 30. I believe this brand is actually under the Coola brand, the Coola name, but it seems to be a slightly more budget-friendly version of Coola, I guess. This was $14.99 at Ulta. So far, I don't think I love this. You do need to shake it because sometimes it comes out separated. Again, I don't know what it is with all these products. It has a really, really weird consistency. It's almost chalky, but at the same time, like really smooth, almost to the point of feeling greasy. Like that really doesn't, that description doesn't make sense, and that's because I feel like the texture of this doesn't make sense at all. But it has a more matte finish on the skin. It doesn't look greasy or shiny at all. Sometimes I feel like it makes whatever makeup I wear on top of it look a little bit dry and heavy and cakey. I don't know if it's this. I'll have to keep using it. I feel like I am still trying to figure this out even after having it for over 2 months. I'm still trying to figure it out. I feel like it's a nice option, especially if you have oily skin. The tint I feel like doesn't really add much in the way of coverage at all. It might kind of smooth out the skin tone a little bit, but I don't know. I feel like it's okay and I'll use it, but I think I'd like to find something a little bit more hydrating, I think is what I'm trying to say. So maybe a good option if you have super oily skin and you struggle to find a face sunscreen that doesn't make you look greasy. That's what I'll say. Okay. Next thing I bought from Ulta, I still haven't opened, and it's the Flower Beauty Lash Warrior Mascara. This is the one that I will open next once I'm done with the CoverGirl one, so stay tuned for my thoughts on that. Sorry I don't have any thoughts on it yet, but it's just because I haven't opened it yet. Next thing was the NYX Epic Ink Liner. This is just a black liquid liner. I purchased this because I'd heard, I know like Jessica Braun really likes this one, and I mean, I just love her. That's like the second time I've mentioned her in this video. I feel like I always agree with her on things, on products and stuff. But it has a brush tip. It's a super black formula, and I also will say it was super black even the first time I used it. Sometimes these liners take like a few uses to kind of warm up and get to their blackest state, but this was super black and opaque straight out of the tube the first time I opened it, so that is awesome. I feel like this is really similar to the Physicians Formula Eye Booster eyeliner pen that also has a brush tip. To me, they're almost interchangeable. The Physicians Formula was the one that I had been using for a couple of years, and I wanted to just try something new because I'd heard great things about this. This retails for $8.99, so it's just about the same price as the Physicians Formula. So the real test will be to see how long this lasts, because the Physicians Formula one takes forever to dry out. In fact, I usually have to throw it away before it's even dried out because I've had it for too long at that point. So we'll see how this one stands. But so far, really liking this. It's really black, really smooth, and I love the brush tip. I feel like brush tips with a pen style like this are kind of the easiest to work with, at least for me. Then I got a couple of Milani products. I got one of their baked bronzers and baked blushes. The bronzer is in the shade Dolce. This is nice. It's a warm bronzer. It has a little bit of a sheen to it. Very warm, like not something that you'd ever want to use as a contour unless you just have really warm undertones anyway. But this is also a really kind of light colored bronzer, so I don't think this would work. Buses, thank you. I don't think this would work for you if you have a much deeper skin tone, but for, you know, if you have a lighter skin tone, you want something that's not too dark, this would be a great option. I think it's nice, I like it. And it smells really nice too. It almost has like a cocoa-y smell. I don't think that's intentional, but... And then the baked bronzer I have in Berry Amore. I like this, but I wish I hadn't bought it because it's totally just a peachy blush. I thought by the name Berry Amore it would be more of like a berry or a plummy toned blush, but no, it's really peachy. Like, it's really just a peachy blush. It's beautiful. You know, it's got a nice sheen to it. I think it's really pretty, but I really didn't need a blush this color. I feel like I probably already have other things that are similar, but I will still continue to use it. I think it's a gorgeous color, and I mean, these baked blushes have been like cult favorites for a long time, so I'm glad to have one now as kind of a point of reference because I know they're so popular and they have been for so long, but I wish I had gotten a different shade, I guess is what I'm saying. The next thing I got was just a totally basic hairbrush. This is from the brand Conair. It's been working really well. I believe this was meant to be like for wet or dry hair, so that's nice. One question I have for you though is, how do you clean your hairbrushes? Because this is one of those that has kind of like, it's like a flexible part where the bristles are contained, and I feel like water could get in there if I were to wash it with water, and I don't want that to happen because I'm afraid that it could get like gross inside there. So I do want to know, how do you clean your hairbrushes? Because I want to be able to clean my hairbrushes maybe like every couple weeks or something. I feel like that would probably be a good idea, considering all the product that I use in my hair and stuff, but let me know how you do that, especially with this kind of like style of brush. You guys know what I'm talking about. Because I don't want water to get up under there. I feel like, I don't know. Let me know. Now on to some Sephora things. So the first thing was the Too Faced Born This Way concealer. I've been testing this out and quite frankly I'm disappointed because it does not have the super coverage that it claims to have. This isn't what I'm wearing now. Right now I'm actually wearing the Covergirl concealer, but I wore this in my most recent Get Ready With Me. You can kind of see it in action there. I have it in the shade Swan. I did exchange this for the shade that I had gotten originally, which was, I don't remember the name of the shade I had before. It might have been Almond. So the first shade that I got was described as very fair neutral. And I thought that sounded perfect because I would consider myself to be very fair neutral. And that shade was too dark and even a little bit too warm for me. Like, it did not seem like a neutral tone. So I exchanged it for this first shade, Swan, because this was described as like very, very fair neutral. And so I thought, okay, well if this one's too dark, this one should work. I feel like this is maybe too light for me. Like, this is borderline white. Not quite, but it's almost there. So I don't know, but I don't want to exchange it again because I feel like that's wasteful. Like, I know that they just throw it away if you return it. I'm pretty sure that's what they do. So I don't know. I want to keep it and make it work. So it's fine. The shade is fine. It's just very brightening. So that's it. But I just have to let go of the idea that this is going to be super coverage because it's just not. It's like a solid, average, middle of the road coverage level for me. And so I'm just going to have to accept that. I do like the finish of it. I think it's a nice, like, natural looking finish under the eyes. I wouldn't say that it's drying, but I wouldn't say that it's like dewy either. Like, I had a sample of the Tarte Maracuja Creaseless Concealer that I was using recently, and that one was super dewy. This is nowhere near that level of dewiness. I do always set it. I always set my under eye concealer because I don't want it to move around and I don't want it to crease. So, but yeah, so far I'm a little disappointed because it doesn't have, I bought it expecting it to be full coverage, and it's not. So I'm just gonna have to get over that and just accept it for what it is. I still think it's a nice concealer. I don't see where the full coverage claim comes from. Maybe I just have like super dark circles, but some of you guys have told me that you don't think it's actually full coverage either, so I know I'm not alone. The next item that I purchased was the Beauty Blender, and I've been using this quite a bit. I used it today. It's nice and soft. It's really squishy. It's, you know, everything everyone said it is. I like it, but I would not buy this again. Once this is done, I will almost certainly go back to my EcoTools sponge because that one is like under $5 and I like it just as much as this. I will say though, I've washed this quite a few times and it has not started to tear up at all, which I'm glad. I'm hoping that since this is so expensive that it'll last a really long time, assuming I continue to take care of it and wash it regularly. I think it's nice. I just don't think you need to spend the money on it. The reason I kind of knew that going into it because a lot of you guys told me that, but I just wanted to try it so that I could have that point of reference because I usually do go for more inexpensive options when it comes to makeup, sponges, brushes, everything, but it's nice to have that reference. Like, this is the standard that everyone holds other sponges to pretty much because it is just like the original, you know, this is the original beauty sponge, so I want to at least know what it's like so I can compare other things to it, if that makes sense. Moral of the story is I don't think you need to spend the money on it. The next thing I got from Sephora was the Stila glitters. I got a trio of their glitters. This was like a holiday trio. I think it was called their Oh My Stars trio. It came with the shades Kitten Karma, Diamond Dust, and Gold Goddess. Those are like 3 of their most popular shades. These are absolutely beautiful. I wore the gold one on New Year's Eve. It was beautiful. I've worn the silver one a couple of times. I actually don't think I've worn the rose gold one yet. So here's kind of what I've gathered about these. I don't think I would ever buy one of these at full price. This set I think was $15, which was an amazing deal for 3 of them. These are minis, okay, so, but I mean, how often? I'm not gonna go through one of these very quickly at all. You know, if you're using it every day, maybe it would make sense to buy the full size, but that was, I thought, a really good deal to get to try out 3 shades. 3 shades that are, you know, kind of on the neutral side, so they'll go with a lot of different things. I would not buy one of these glitters at full price. The full price for the full size is $24. And for the amount that I've been wearing these, I just don't think that price will be worth it. I'd rather try out some more drugstore options. These are really nice, but they are hard to remove, and they kind of bother my contacts a little bit. Like sometimes the glitters will fall into my eyes. Like it's not terrible, like the fallout isn't terrible, but it's just a very like, it feels heavy on the eyes and it's rough to remove. If I use like a cleansing oil or something, I can get most of it off, but I'll still wake up the next day and have a few little like glitters just like sitting on my skin. So they're just really intense. And I mean, that's obviously what they're meant to be. They're meant to be super glittery and shiny. I think they're gorgeous. I'm glad that I got the set. I think that $15 for 3 of them was an amazing deal. They do have a lot of like more fun colors and like duochrome colors too. So maybe down the road I'd consider those if they had a set of some like really fun colors for $15. I would go for that. The next thing I got was another little holiday duo from First Aid Beauty. This is their Ultra Repair Cream. This is the 2-ounce version. I think the full size is usually in like a tub or a jar. And then their Ultra Repair Lip Therapy. So I've been using the Ultra Repair Cream as a night cream. I think that you can use this all over your body. They do make one that is specifically for the face, but I think that this is also okay to use on your face. I'm almost done with this actually. So I got a solid like 2.5 months of use out of it at least. It does feel very hydrating. It feels just, you know, it feels really nourishing on the skin at night. And I like it. If I ever am able to find it on sale again, I'd probably go for it. But I think at full price, I don't think at full price I would buy it because it is more of an expensive brand. But it is really nice, I will say that. And then the Ultra Repair Lip Therapy, I like this too. This is also the mini size. This is the 0.25 fluid ounce size, so I think it's like the half size maybe. I like this and I kind of feel the same way about it as I do the Ultra Repair Cream. I think that if I ever do find it on sale again, I probably would pick it up. But I also just recently bought some more Crazy Rumors lip balms, which are like $3 a piece, super cheap, and I feel like those work just as well at hydrating the lips as this does. It does a really nice job and it really does help like keep my lips from getting chapped, but I don't think it's anything miraculous. Like it's not transforming my lips overnight, you know? So it's nice, but I definitely wouldn't spend full price on it. But this little duo I think was like $12, so I essentially got each of these for $6, which that's a really good deal for some First Aid Beauty stuff. Also from First Aid Beauty, I got the Eye Duty Triple Remedy. For a while I couldn't figure out exactly what this was for, because it has a little bit of a peachy tone. Then I decided to go online and actually read the description of it so I could see what they actually say about it. This is kind of just meant to, it's like a morning eye gel basically. It does have a little bit of coverage to it, just a tiny bit. In the description online it said that you could use this for a very light coverage concealer. It really doesn't conceal much, but it does have a little bit of that peachy tone. I think the only shade this comes in is fair/medium, which is what I have. I feel like that's a little bit odd, like maybe they should have another shade too, but I don't know. I don't know why they bothered to have a shade if it's all just one shade. It has this little metal piece that you can use to rub it into the skin. It feels really nice and cooling and refreshing. I like this. I'll continue to use it. I'll probably keep using it each morning as just like a morning like refreshing eye gel. But it's not something that I can't see myself using this up and then repurchasing it again once it's gone, because I don't feel like it's really worth the, what, $36? I know that e.l.f. has a similar product. It's like an eye gel with a cool metal applicator, and I feel like that's really similar, and that one's like $3. So if I wanted a product like this again, I'd probably want to try out the e.l.f. one next. Okay, the next thing, and this is the last thing from First Aid Beauty, this was their Coconut Skin Smoothie Priming Moisturizer. I got the mini size. This mini size is 0.75 ounces and it's only $14. This is so nice. It's just very hydrating. It just has a really nice feel on the skin, and I think it does look really nice underneath foundation as well. It doesn't add like a ton of dewy glow, but it adds a nice level of just like a hydrated look to the skin. So I'm really enjoying this, especially right now in the winter months. I feel like it's a really nice like winter primer, but I can totally see myself continuing to use this year-round. I really like it. Last few things were from ColourPop, and then I also had some Madame Glam lipsticks to talk about. I did purchase one of their empty palettes. It was during their Build Your Own palette sale back in November. I got a 12-pan palette. Really enjoying all of these shadows. All the shades that I got in this palette I'll list down below. I did a video talking about my full ColourPop single shadow collection, so if you're interested, all of these were included in that video if you'd like to hear more details on each specific one. I will say that my favorite one out of here is Tea Garden. I'm wearing it on my eyelids right now. It's just a beautiful like duochrome greenish copper color. It's really unique and super pretty. There's a reason why so many people love that. And the thing about that shadow is I feel like it just makes me look like I tried so much harder than I actually did. Like it's so easy to just throw on, but it looks really beautiful and just like multi-dimensional on the lid. So love that shade. I'm also wearing it kind of blended out with Paper Tiger, which is that more mustard color. That's really pretty too. I'm enjoying all of these. I think ColourPop has some great single shadows. They're one of the most affordable options out there. They're $4 a piece. Obviously, if you can get them in a sale, even better. But yeah, I'm loving those for sure. And then also from ColourPop, I got one of their Super Shock shadows. This is my first Super Shock shadow from ColourPop. I really just wanted to try out the formula. I got the shade Liberty, which is a straight up like super blinding silver. I did not have a silver shadow in my collection prior to this, so that's kind of why I chose this shade. This is so intense, like in a good way, but it is really intense, and this is one of their metallic, ultra metallic shadows. So that I'm loving as well. Not something that I'm gonna wear all the time just because it's so intense, but I really like it. I also wore that in my most recent Get Ready With Me, kind of in the inner corner. So if you want to see it kind of in action, that you can see that video. But yeah, really liking that. I think it's beautiful. Kind of makes me want to buy more ColourPop Super Shock shadows, but I also know myself, and I know that I don't use single shadows like that all that often, so we'll see. What are your favorite Super Shock shadow shades? Because I'm gonna keep thinking about it. All right, this is gonna be the longest video of all time. I usually like to keep my videos under 15 minutes. This one's gonna be more than 15 minutes for sure. The last couple of things were some PR items that I included in that haul. These are some lipsticks from the brand Madame Glam. I actually also just did a video on the Madame Glam gel polishes. So if you want to hear about those, there's a whole video on it. So they sent me 4 of their lipsticks, 3 of which are the Velvet formula, and one of them is one of the matte shades. I am wearing the shade Fig on my lips right now. It's a beautiful berry color. This Velvet formula feels really nice and balm-like. It has a bit more of like a lip balm feel to it. This one is really pretty. As I've been talking, it's kind of lost a little bit of its intensity throughout the video, I feel like. I would describe the shade as like a sheer berry. That's probably my favorite. I just love how easy it is to throw on. And even though it's kind of like a reddish berry, I don't have to like really worry about it like drifting outside my lips or anything. So that's what I mean by like an easy shade to wear. The shade Mad Hatter, I haven't worn this outside of swatching it on my lips. It's like a straight up baby pink. I feel like if I ever wear this, it will be in the summertime. I don't know how flattering this is going to be on my skin tone, but I am gonna, you know, push myself to try it out eventually, you know, with some actual like looks and stuff. Pucker Up is more of like a spring or summer shade for me. It's kind of like a coral shade. And then Cherry Wine, I wore this a lot during the holidays. It's a beautiful like deep red, and it is matte. I like this matte formula as well. This is the only matte one that they sent me. It's matte, but it still feels kind of nice and creamy on the lips, but it still has good staying power as well. So, so far I really like these. These are kind of pricey. I think they're like $18 each, which is, that's a lot to me for a lipstick. I would consider that kind of a high-end price. So, you know, if you're considering them, those are my thoughts, but I will say the drugstore also has some great lip options for much cheaper that personally I would recommend over these. Some of my favorite drugstore lipsticks are the ones from Wet n Wild. I really like their Mega Last lipsticks. Those are like $2. The e.l.f. matte lip colors, these are like $3 a piece. Those are great and much cheaper. I feel like you don't have to spend this kind of money on lipsticks if you don't want to, but if you were thinking about it, those are my thoughts. So I think that is everything from both the CoverGirl try-on haul and that big like Ulta, Sephora, ColourPop haul that I did in December. I hope that this helped you kind of get more of a feel for all of those products. Now that I've been trying them out for a longer period of time, that's kind of my, you know, more developed thoughts on them. So I hope that this was helpful. If you enjoyed, I would love to have you subscribe to my channel, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.